guest speakers for you today, the first being Sergeant David Hack. Sergeant Hack was born and raised in Kentucky. He first enlisted into the United States Coast Guard in 1957, serving 4 years and then enlisting in the United States Army in 1964, volunteering for the Rangers. He first served in Vietnam in 1968 with the 1st Infantry Division, where he sustained several injuries and was awarded the Purple Heart. Sergeant Hack was also a recruiter in Summit County, creating several national brands that were used throughout the country. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sergeant David Hack.
Good morning. Before we start off, I'd like to call up Dr. Banks. As the official licensee for the Purple Heart Foundation, and there's only 3 of us in the world, my company is called U.S. Wings. And U.S. Wings, being the official licensee, helped Boston Heights become the first police department in the world to have the official Purple Heart patch for their uniform. This is a collector's item. This is the very first one. In recognition to Dr. Banks for what all he has done for us Purple Hearters, I'd like to present this to him. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Banks.
It's Jim, please, Jim.
Well,
I ain't any kind of doctor that can help anybody, so it's just James Banks. Thank you.
and I may add that Boston Heights is also a Purple Heart city. So their police department will have that patch on their uniform. And I hope that that might spread around the whole entire United States and bring a brighter light to the local police departments. Okay, again, Dr. Banks, thank you so much. I had a buddy one time, and I still do have him, by the way. His name is Wagner, Major General Wagner. And Wagner, he said to me one time, he says, he said, just call me Bob. And I says, General, 3-star general, I don't think I'm going to call you Bob. And I don't think I'm going to call you Jim, Doctor. Okay. Thanks for coming out. Now, I did serve in the Coast Guard. I was in the Coast Guard from 1957 to 1961. My service number was very short, 321-996. I was in Echo 32, Cape May, New Jersey. I stayed seasick for 4 years. And the Army at that time, they were looking for guys that knew small boats. And I did what they call a lateral transfer. I went into the Army in 1964. I did not go through Army boot camp. I did not go through Ranger training. I did not go through NCO school. I did not go through First Sergeant school. I was automatically promoted to Sergeant. I was automatically promoted to SFC E7. And I retired as SFC E7. But I did not attend any of the schools. And believe it or not, the Army felt that with my training in the Coast Guard, I didn't need to, and I didn't. So anyway, my wife and I talked about what I should talk about. And whenever I was a patient in the hospital for a year, I thought, how can I help fellow veterans? Because we needed that come down time. When we came out of combat, we needed it so bad. So right now, what's going on and what has been going on, when a guy comes out of combat, the first thing he wants to know is, where's the door, the back door? He doesn't want to talk about combat. He doesn't want to talk about PTSD. He doesn't want to talk about his problems. All he wants to do is go home and be left alone. So the first thing he does when a doctor comes up and asks him, hey, tell me about your personal problems, he's going to lie to him. Plain and simple. He's going to lie to him. The nurses say, hey, you want to talk about it? Sure. Do you have any problems? Not a one. When can I leave? And that's what they want. That is what they truly want. I know that for a fact. When you sit in a bed or lay in a bed for a year, you come up with all kind of ideas. And I think that, honestly and sincerely believe that if every veteran has a come down time, when he catches that bird and comes home, if the United States military sends that guy to a local recruiting station, send him to a local recruiting station and have him help that recruiter for 30 days and have him report to that recruiter every morning and then go home every night. For 30 days is a come down time because he's with fellow veterans. We help one another. That's why we're all here today. We help one another. Just give that guy 30 days to come down and then discharge him and then put him back into the regular Army or the Air Force. I don't know if it'll cut out the PTSD. I don't know if it'll cut out the suicide, but I don't think it'll hurt because we can help one another more so than any psychiatrist can or any nurse can. We really can, by just talking out. I mean, how many of us here that served in Vietnam never even talked about it? A bunch. There you go. We didn't talk about it. You know, I was discharged in 1973 in Akron, Ohio, and I became a police officer. And then I owned a few parts stores. Whoops, sorry about that. I owned a few parts stores, and I've been very successful. I own a business now, and I'm very successful at it. But a lot of people didn't know that I was a Vietnam veteran. Didn't talk about it. Most of the people wouldn't believe it if I did talk about it. But you can talk to one another. They can tell, and they can help. And that's important. It really is. We need to help one another more. All these programs that they have, I guess they're good, but the bottom line is we are back to back. And if we can help one another, we're going to. And that's my own opinion. And I think that we need to do that. We need to reach out to one another with more programs that we can generate, more rallies that we can do. This is the greatest thing ever. What an honor to be here. It really is. And what an honor to meet one another. And it's a healing process. We'll never forget. Never, ever, ever. We can forgive, but we'll never forget. And that's so important. It really isn't. It is so very important to help one another. Thank you. One last thing. We printed 150,000 books to give out free. I have some in the back, and we've given them out for the past 10 years. And it's a fast read, but I think if you read it, you'll get the message. Thank you.